What will the Dodgers' plan be at shortstop with Mookie Betts out? Hyeseong Kim is going to play where? When will we see him this week? We've got our 10 big takeaways from the week that was. Where the Dodgers at in MLB's power rankings? Who's our pitcher of the week, player of the week on the position player side, reliever of the week? Also, I've got a list. Might be a little controversial, but my top 10 most important plays from the 2025 World Series. The Dodgers are in Toronto for a rematch of the best World Series of all time. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live. Nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball.
Los Angeles wins it 3-1.
The Dodgers are ruining baseball. Let's get 4 more wins and really ruin baseball.
Oh my goodness! Shohei Ohtani! Here's the 0-2 pitch. Bounces one up the middle. Pitch to the back. Over to first to beat the champ. The Dodgers stand tall and win back-to-back titles.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
Live from the heart of Los Angeles, this is Dodgers Dugout Live with your host, Doug McKain.
Welcome to Dodgers Nation, presented by Baja Blast. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Dmac_LA if you haven't yet. Do us a huge favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, drop a like, drop a comment down below. Hey, I might have some Baja Blast in my $70 Ohtani cup. Take a couple sips right now, but welcome. It's a Monday episode. You know what that means? That means it's jam-packed. We'll talk about the week that was in Dodger baseball. We will talk about this series tonight in Toronto, the second earliest World Series rematch in Major League Baseball history. I've got my top 10 most important plays. I can't wait to get your feedback on this because it's a little controversial, I think. I think some moments I'll have higher than others. Some moments I'll have lower than others. But today's Dodgers Dugout Live poll question of the show, I asked you guys over on the X, what was the most memorable play from the 2025 World Series? And right now, 16.7%, actually just changed, 14.3% say Will Smith's home run in Game 7, 14.3% say Andy Paz's catch, and 71.4% say Miguel Rojas's home run in Game 7. There's some other moments you can talk about. We'll get into those, but let me know down below in the comment section, what was your most memorable moment from the 2025 World Series? This is a live show. We got BDR, Big Dog Rob, producing the show today, and he's looking for your comments of the show. He's looking for your fire takes. He's looking for anything hot, anything funny. You know, we like to laugh here. You know, don't bring up the Padres or Giants record, things like that will give us a good laugh for sure. But he's looking for you guys, looking for a comment of the show, getting a lot of compliments on my jacket. I switched it out there. You guys see my locker behind us? It's my locker. I put the 1981 Fernando Dodgers dugout jacket in there too. So I kind of mix it up. This is kind of more the late 80s, early 90s with the satin starter. This one always goes really hard. If you notice too, I got my UCLA. I came in today to the studio, full-blown UCLA Jordan #1 jersey plus shorts. I'm in full uniform. Dave Roberts gave a shout out to the Lady Bruins after the game yesterday, congratulating them on their national championship. Now I need a men's title in basketball. Now I need a football title. Give me all the titles. Give me all the titles, but congratulations to UCLA women's basketball winning their first national championship in the NCAA era. But there is so much to get into, Dodgers Nation. So much to dive into. We've already got rumors. We've got some injuries. We've got the team playing well. But there's so much to get into here in the world of Dodger baseball, so let's get right into it.
Leading off, the hottest story in Dodger baseball.
All right, so the hot story in Dodger baseball still is the status of Mookie Betts, the Dodgers roster move to call up Hyeseong Kim, and what will the plan be at the shortstop position with Mookie expected to miss anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. Now, will it be 4 to 6 weeks? Dave Roberts did say he would take the under on that. So you're looking at anywhere from 22 to 25 games, something in that range. But it is an oblique injury. And anytime there's an oblique injury to a baseball player, it's more significant. If it's an oblique injury to a football player or a basketball player, yes, it's significant, but not as significant as it is for a baseball player that swings a bat, that's rotating their hips, that is engaging those obliques every time they try to hit a baseball. And that is when Mookie Betts hurt his oblique, and it was that check swing there in the first inning on Saturday. So they are not going to push Mookie to the point where he's going to be rushed back. I've said this entire time. Anytime the check engine light's on, they're going to drive it to the shop, and they're not going to drive it back unless that thing is at or near 100%. So what this means for Mookie is a couple of different things. It means, one, it's another injury that is on his record. And that's what we've seen start to pile up. Remember all the way back in 2021, he had the hip injury, got the injection, felt better from that. But we've seen him break his hand. We've seen him hurt his toe. We've seen him get sick and lose 20 pounds. And all these injuries start to add up, especially when you're a 5'9" player who weighs 180 plus pounds. That is going to impact you because your margin for error is a little less than it can be for another player that's a little on the bigger side. And Mookie said that himself, right? Hey, his home runs, we see they scrape past the wall. You don't see him going 20, 30 rows deep, right? He's not a guy who's going to hit the ball over the wall like Shohei Ohtani. So Mookie is going to miss time. That's going to impact his bat, you would think. And it just sets the timetable back for when we can start feeling good about Mookie as far as, hey, we're still going to ask that question, is the bat on the decline now? Because he can't prove that the bat is back now until what? July, August? Because that would be a long enough stretch to see if that bat is playing. So I think from a rhythm standpoint, from an offensive production standpoint, that's the biggest question that Mookie had entering this season is, could he get the bat back to be in 20 or 30 to 40% above league average, where we've seen him at for most of his career, hitting at an all-star level. And now it's going to just set that back. The other thing too, the all-star game. Is he going to be an all-star again? Will he be able to make that team missing this amount of games? So that is the individual impact on Mookie. And then you also the Gold Glove and just developing as a shortstop. He still is learning that position. That's the individual impact. And there's the impact on this team and what that means for who's going to fill in at that spot. Well, Dave Roberts said on Sunday that you're going to now have a platoon at shortstop, and it's not the one that you may have assumed it would be. It's not going to be Alex Freeland and Miguel Rojas. It's going to be Miguel Rojas and Hyeseong Kim. This comes as a little bit of a surprise for a couple of reasons. One, Alex Freeland, we know that he is someone who has spent a lot of time at the shortstop spot, has had more success really as a defensive shortstop for longer stretches. And then also you have Miguel Rojas. So we know that Miguel Rojas can play shortstop at an above average level. And there's plays that he makes that only a handful of shortstop can make. I mean, he plays that at an elite level. The issue with Rojas, he's getting up there in his 30s. You play that position every day, it starts to take its physical toll. Miguel Rojas told me that there's this kind of scale. The more you play shortstop every day, the more it can impact your bat because of how physically demanding that position is. So they are going to pick with Hyeseong Kim. And the reason for that, Dave Roberts said, it's the range. They like the athleticism. And that's something that Kim has over Freeland. He is more athletic. He is rangier. You see more quick twitch in his game. He's got that in his bag. And also the throwing has improved. And that's another reason why I was telling you when they originally made the decision to go Freeland over Kim to start the season is because they wanted to see him get more comfortable at shortstop because that's where he can actually improve and help this team as a depth piece. He already has second base figured out. Miggy Road told me he plays that already at a Gold Glove level. he's improving in center field to be a backup and a depth piece behind Andy Pages. You see the range there. You see him get to balls that not a lot of players can get to in the outfield. But shortstop was the area that they emphasized, from what I'm told, in practices and in games, and trying to mix it around with him at shortstop. So they like the range. They like the athleticism. And I think, too, on top of that, I don't think they want to mess with Alex Freeland. I think they realize that with Tommy Edman out, with Kike Hernandez out, with him getting an opportunity this early in the season, that you're going to determine it as success or a failure based on how well he performs at the plate offensively. And I think they're doing this for Freeland because they realize that he is going to have to focus on the bat. Last week, Alex Freeland went 1 for 18 at the plate. So I think that they don't want to put too much on him. I don't think they want to say, okay, now we expect you to hit, and now you're playing the second most difficult defensive position on the diamond, the shortstop spot. I think that is what they're telling us. Say, hey, Alex, let's just try to play second solid, and let's work Santiago Espinal. We'll have him at third, second, mix him in a little bit, and then let's see if you can hit. So I think that was the thought process in all of that. But here was Dave Roberts yesterday talking about Mookie Betts' oblique injury and when we can expect him back on the diamond.
It's a right oblique strain, and our guess is it was on a check swing, but he didn't really feel it until he started running. But what was the start of it is probably the check swing, but we still don't have clarity on that. But just talked to him, says he feels better than he thought. That's a good thing. But yeah, he'll be on the IL. We brought Hyeseong Kim, and we'll go from there. I see Miggy and Kim taking down short and leaving Freeland at second base, still knowing that he can play short. That's kind of how I'm going to divvy it up, and then we'll see. We got 3 starters in Toronto, so Hyeseong will play short against Scherzer, and then we'll probably start 2 of the 3. He's actually in better spirits. It's not obviously disappointed, but just the way he feels today, and I think he's had some dealings with that before, and said it's better than he recalls past experience. So that was encouraging. I would take the under on that, but as far as putting a timeline, I'm really hesitant right now because they are tricky. Yeah, I think early on, just kind of trying to figure out what initiated, which we didn't know, where the pain was, didn't really know. So then kind of hearing oblique, then it kind of gives you a little something in your stomach. But talking to Mookie, I felt a little bit more reassured today.
So you like that he feels reassured talking to Mookie, but make no mistake about this. I mean, this is a blow not just to the current state of the Dodgers lineup, but also the long-term plan. Because what if Will Smith and Teoscar Hernandez are in that 3-hole and they're protected by Kyle Tucker and Freddie Freeman batting in between those guys, and they have a lot of success? If that happens and Mookie Betts comes back, then it makes you wonder, where are we going to bet bets? We're going to, a little tongue twister there. Where are we going to bat bets in that situation? Because there's a lot of guys in this lineup that make sense in that spot. And him batting third was betting on Betts and his track record and his history. And we saw in Game 6 of the World Series last year when they moved Mookie down the lineup. You saw him in the cleanup spot. He got that big 2-run single to get the scoring early, and that helped them. But still, I mean, it makes you wonder if these guys take advantage of that opportunity. Mookie comes back, takes a while to find that rhythm, doesn't hit. Where do you bat Mookie in the lineup? So it kind of puts a little more pressure on him when he does return. And you just kind of look at the MRI and the oblique injury and things like that. It's just another reminder of what I've been saying this entire offseason, entering this season, is you guys know me. I'm going to keep it 100. I'm optimistic when I think that there's a reason for optimism, but I'm also going to ask the tough questions when they need to be asked too. And the tough question that we're going to have to get answered this season is, how many prime years do we have out of the All-Stars and the future Hall of Famers in the existing core? Because we know that Father of Time is undefeated, and that for the most part, every time Father of Time is knocked on the door of a lot of these guys, hey, these guys will punch him back. But in this case, injuries occur when teams get older. And 7 of the 9 Dodgers position players are north of 30 years old. It's the oldest roster in the league. And these guys have played a lot of baseball for the last couple of years. Max Muncy said during spring training that those games add up. One postseason game is like, it's equivalent to like 10 plus regular season games as far as attrition, how much it takes out of you. We saw what it did to the Dodgers bullpen going from 2024 to 2025. So that is the only thing that I think can prevent this team from reaching its goal. And being the 5th team ever to win 3 straight titles is the sustainability of the primes of the Mookies and the Freddies. And you go below that, the Muncies, the Teos, and then we know Shohei's at the peak of his powers. We know Kyle Tucker's entering his prime years. So there's still a lot of guys in their primes that are expected to have all-stars and big seasons. But, I mean, we're just a week into the season, and you're losing your all-star and your shortstop and your $365 million player for what I think could be 2 months possibly, because the timeline for an oblique is not linear. Now, as far as you heard Dave Roberts talk about Hyeseong Kim, he expects him to play 2 out of the 3 games against Toronto. We know that Rojas is going to be the primary guy for the most part, and it's not going to be a straight platoon. Dave did mention that Rojas, who does have more success against left-handed pitching, will get some starts against righties. But also Kim, he did have some success against lefties last year in a limited sample, and they're going to need to see him have success against righties if they're going to build confidence and trust in his bat. Really, the key for Kim is having respectable, quality, big league at-bats, where when you do strike out, how are you striking out? Is it you're getting overpowered by fastballs up and in? Is it you're expanding at breaking balls off the plate? How competitive are your at-bats? How many walks are you drawing? How is the hard contact looking, and are the results there? But the good thing about Kim is he has got off to a good start at the minor league level. In 6 games, the Comets had 9 hits. That included double, and he had that 5-hit game to start the year against Albuquerque, the Isotopes, where he had 5 hits. So it was a new career high for him. But all in all, the strikeout rate has been down from 25.1% last year in AAA down to 21.9% this year. Not a big improvement, but an improvement. And overall, it's hitting 346, 438 with a 385 slugging and scored 11 runs. So there's pressure on Kim, but hey, as long as where he's hitting the bottom of the order, is not looking like he's getting dominated and he's controlling the strike zone, he's not getting overpowered, and also, too, energy. I think that's the word I'm looking for Hyeseong Kim. Bringing energy, bringing life to this lineup. When you get on stealing a base, scoring from first, things like that. That's what I want to see from Hyeseong Kim. But here's what Dave Roberts wants to see from Hyeseong Kim.
Just obviously playing the good defense that he's been known to do. And he'll be hitting, somewhere at the bottom of the order, and just take good at bats. Take the walks when they're there, control the strike zone, and not expect to carry us, but just be the player he is, bring energy, and it's good to have him back. Obviously, not at the cost of Mookie, but he's always additive when he's around. I haven't. Obviously, he started off with 5 hits, and then I haven't followed, the last few days. I like his range. I like the way he gets off the ball. He catches it, and since he's got here, I think his arm stroke slot has gotten better, so there's more carry. It's not a lack of arm strength, never has been, but I do think that the ball has more carry now, which I like playing short.
A major responsibility is playing shortstop for the Los Angeles Dodgers. But I do think that's a vote of confidence for Kim, where they're saying, hey, if the offensive production isn't elite, if you can play shortstop at the big league level, that's another thing that you can do, right? If you want to provide your value to a company, the more things you're able to do well, the better your value is that you provide. So they're going to keep you around, right? If you're at a company, you can do this, you can do that, and you're versatile. You got an open mind. You don't the boss tells you to do something, you're like, okay, I'll do it. But you actually do it, you do it well, they're going to like having you around. I think it's an attitude thing for Kim too. His attitude is a 10 out of 10. It's off the charts. And I think that that's something that's going to play up. But big picture, when I leave a big picture thought in all this too, is what does this mean about the future of the shortstop position for Los Angeles Dodgers? Now, Mookie got hurt swinging. It's not like he was hurt when he was playing defensively, but still, I mean, Mookie, 33, 34 years old, at an age when most shortstops will consider a position change because of how grueling that position can be physically on the body. I mean, the beautiful thing would be if Mookie can just play this position and remain injury-free. But I do think the fact is having early on the season, we'll see how he performs for the rest of the way. But I think that it kind of calls into question, hey, what are the long-term prospects of that position, just because it is a young man's position. It truly is. And I'm not saying Mookie's old. I'm not saying Mookie's washed. I still expect Mookie to come back and do what he's done throughout his entire baseball career and really life. And that is when someone doubts Mookie Betts and you bet against Betts, he usually makes you look stupid and you're usually wrong. And I'm expecting big things when he comes back. But this is a proactive Dodgers organization. I think in the back of their minds is going to use the rest of this year to kind of see how the bat's playing, how the defense is playing, and if he's staying injury-free. Because I want to see Mookie living his Betts life. And if that's at shortstop, great. But does it feel like maybe being at second base and focusing a little more on offense would be more comfortable where he originally came up? I think if we're being completely honest, that's something to consider. But all right, coming up next, we got our big takeaways. Dodgers Rewind, 10 big takeaways from the week that was. We're jamming through this show on a Monday, and what you really need to stay for, top 10 most important plays from the 2025 World Series. The Dodgers going to Toronto, playing the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays lose. That's tonight in the 6. Are you guys hyped? Let me know. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live. Welcome to the Dodgers Nation Podcast Network, your front row seat to everything Dodgers all season long. Home of the #1 Dodgers podcast in the world, Dodgers Dugout Live, hosted by me, Doug McKain. Friends call me Dmac, and we cover everything about your boys in blue, everything you need to know about Dodger baseball in less than an hour. We've got breaking news, post-game breakdowns, roster updates, trade rumors, in-depth player analysis, Dodgers trivia, you name it. Whether it's a wild walk-off at the Ravine, a key call-up from OKC, we've got the insight, we got the coverage, and we're here for you all year long. We're the #1 Dodgers site on every platform, and we're born and based in LA. We're loyal to the soil. Dodger baseball is what we do. Trusted by tens of thousands of daily listeners, Dodgers Nation is more than just recaps. We are LA. Whether you're in Echo Park or out in the Valley, Beverly Hills, whatever it is, if you bleed blue, this pod's for you. The more you guys subscribe, the bigger we can build, and we can do this together. So stay up to date with our Dodgers Nation post-game shows and breakdowns and podcasts. You can listen while you're lifting, while you're in traffic, or while pretending to answer work emails. We won't tell. Subscribe now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your baseball fix. So if you're a new listener or a longtime listener of the podcast, write us a review and we'll read it on the show. Join the conversation, stay ahead of the game, and never miss a pitch with the Dodgers Nation Podcast Network. And welcome back to Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and show on YouTube. Now, if you haven't yet, look behind me. You see my jacket, my bobbleheads, all this awesome stuff here. Do you have something like this at your house? And if you do, well, you got to enter the Dodgers Nation Fan Cave Battle Series. Our Dodgers Nation Fan Cave Battle Series is back for season 2, and it's pretty simple. If you have any sort of setup at home with Dodgers memorabilia or merchandise, you have a chance to be featured on our platform and win some special prizes. Whether you put together a full basement setup, a Dodgers decorated bedroom, a shrine, or even just a shelf filled with different bobbleheads over the years, we want to see. In every episode of the series, our host, Ava Brand, will be running through 4 of our favorite fan caves and the stories behind them, but there can only be one winner by the end of the episode. The winner will receive a 1-of-1 Fan Cave certificate and gift card from the Dodgers Nation team. For all details on how to submit your fan cave to enter Battle Series. Head over to DodgersNation.com/fancave. We cannot wait to see your guys' special setups. BDR, one autograph, one piece of Dodgers memorabilia. I mean, who would you want? I mean, anything that stand out? If you, have like one dream piece of Dodgers memorabilia.
I mean, you know me, man. I'm a fan of the old school stuff. So shout out to the great Dan Bankhead, who was the first black pitcher in MLB history, who was also a Dodger. So I would love the ball that he threw with back in 1942.
That's a great pull. I mean, I've always said the first jersey Jackie Robinson wore April 15th, 1947 would be up there. But you know what, though? I'm taking a Shohei Ohtani home run, the 50-50 ball. I'm taking whatever is worth the most so I can sell it. Like, straight up. It's all about stacking this bread. You know what I mean? Because, but honestly, as far as how special it would be, the Freddie Freeman walk-off grand slam ball would be pretty incredible. The Miguel Rojas home run ball would be incredible. I think that would pick that. But let us know, what would be your dream piece of Dodgers memorabilia? What's up, R. Carino? Rob, did Dmac get you lunch? Haven't got you lunch yet?
Not yet.
I have in the past, bro. You doing me dirty there. No.
You've gotten it. Not today. I think she's asking for today.
Oh, yeah. No. We'll make sure that me and BDR get some lunch for sure. All right. We got fan cave certificate from Mr. Classic. Hey, it's a good certificate. We got a major chip. Mook might be out for a couple of months, and oblique is nothing to mess with. Yeah, I think the good thing is the Dodgers have a lot of experience with players that are north of 30 years old dealing with obliques, namely Max Muncy. And Mookie knows his body too. And they're going to have the best doctors and trainers involved with that. Major chip hazard. Mook might be out. We got Dodger Dog. Kim is better defensively than Mookie already. Probably a better hitter too. That's from Dodger Dog. Bruh. So last year, Kim wasn't good at shortstop. He just, the metrics said he wasn't great. He needed a lot of work at shortstop. Mookie was a objectively better defensive shortstop last year. And the eye test says that. The numbers say that. The 6-3 World Series ending double play, the first one since 1947, the World Series, says that. So I disagree with you, and I also disagree with you too that, Mookie Betts was still an above average bat. So, both are not true what you're saying. Hyeseong Kim overall, it's not really a debate. We're really debating Mookie Betts and Hyeseong Kim, which is, I never thought we'd get there. But yeah, that's just not true. Dave does that. Kim and Miggy backup infield, and Kike and Tibbs backup outfield. Done and done. How about to my guy James Tibbs? James Tibbs, you have been cordially invited to step into the dugout and go on Dodgers Dugout Live. I want more from James Tibbs. I want to know more about the guy. I'm obsessed with the guy. 3 bombs on Saturday, and he's someone that it's going to take some injuries, we're being honest, because their outfield is set, and he's not like he's an infielder that can play that. So they don't really have a spot for him right now. But the way that he's playing, the way that he's hitting, first of all, the Red Sox stopped trading with the Dodgers. But how about shout out to the big Giants for including him in that Rafael Devers deal, and the Dodgers trading for Tibbs and Zach Earhart, who've been doing really well. And then Dustin May, who got rocked in his first start. A pitcher of the Dodgers, there was a 0% chance they were going to bring back, or even probably having on the postseason roster. And you get James Tibbs, who is one of your best emerging prospects this year. I like this from Sergio. You bring up a good point. Not worried, and now we have Tucker to pick up the offense while Mookie is out. The Dodgers won't skip a beat. Miggy and Kim holding down short, no problem. Yeah, look, I think this will take me to my takeaways pretty soon here, but that's something that the Dodgers have, and that is depth. And we've already seen that so far this season, is leaning on your depth. I don't think that Mookie being out makes me fear the Dodgers not winning the division, or not having a chance to win 100 games, or not having a chance to still be one of the best offenses in the sport. We've seen that in the last couple of games against the Nationals, the Fighting Walgreens, based on their logo, that you could still beat teams and bludgeon teams with the BWO, with the Blue World Order. The offense is inevitable even without Mookie Betts in it. But I think it's just the long-term prospects. They have a lot invested in Mookie So Mookie is going to have that spot at shortstop, and he's going to be an everyday player, obviously, and you want that to be the case, but it just sets the timeline back on when we can start feeling like, hey, 2025 was an aberration year. It was because of the weight loss, and he's back to being Marcus Lynn Betts again, MLB. So I think we just wanted to get back to All-Star Mookie faster, and this is a setback. And I don't think that it limits the offense as much as a lot of teams would be limited with losing their star player like Mookie, but I do think that it hurts the ceiling. I mean, the floor is still there, but the ceiling I don't think can be as high without Mookie. But all right, it was the week that was. Let's get into it. Here, it's Monday. You know what that means? Some Dodgers rewind. Here, my 10 big takeaways. What we learned about this Dodgers team last week.
Dodgers Rewind. 10 big takeaways.
All right. So the Dodgers, after winning yesterday, they came back. We'll talk some Roki Sasaki. The Dodgers end up winning 8-6, and they improved to 7-2 on the year. Last week, they went 4-2. They scored 6.33 runs per game. They allowed 4.33 runs per game. And on the year, this is a Dodgers team that entered the year that had a projection of 98 wins. After their first 9, they're projected to win 100. They're on a 126 win pace. That's not the case, but every week we are going to take a look at the FanGraphs World Series projections, and the Dodgers have a 24.3% chance of winning the World Series. The second highest team is the Yankees at over 11% chance. The Dodgers have a 95.6% chance to win the division. They have an 88% chance of getting a bye. So there was that slump. You had 7 home runs entering their Friday game against the Nationals. They hit 5 home runs in that game alone. We've seen Shohei Ohtani come alive for 2 home runs in the past week. Kyle Tucker hit his first home run. We saw Teoscar Hernandez yesterday. Andy Paz has been the best hitter in baseball. So the offense have come alive. And if you look at the power rankings, they've got the Dodgers at 1 at MLB.com, followed by the Yankees, the Brewers at 3, the Braves at 4, the Mariners at 5. We've got the Blue Jays at 6, the Astros at 7. It's my World Series prediction. Dodgers, Astros. The streets need it. 8, you got the Phillies. 9, you got the Tigers. 10, you got the Mets. 11, the Cubs. 12, the Guardians. 13, the Orioles. 14, the Rangers. 15, the Pirates. And then look, that's where we're going to end there. We're going to end there, okay? The Red Sox have been kind of a disappointment for sure with a 2-7 start. So after the first 9 games of the season, the Dodgers have not changed any thoughts about how good of a team they are. But when we dive into it, my next big takeaway is that this is a Dodgers team that has been the comeback kids this year. 5 of their 7 wins have come in comeback fashion, but that's not sustainable. You definitely do not want to put yourself in a position where you're having to come back every single game to win, because that puts stress on the pitching staff. It really puts stress on the offense too. And we saw them get their first early lead on Saturday when Freddie Freeman put them on top with that double that scored Mookie Betts. That is the Dodger baseball way of life that they want to be living. It's great that they have that ability, but let's save that for only when we need to have it. It's great that that's their DNA. It's the reason why they're back-to-back World Series champions, is because they can come back, right? Game 5, 2024 against the Yankees, Game 7 against the Blue Jays. It's great that they're able to do that. But here's one thing I'll say about the comeback thing and the home runs. Yes, the home run flurry has arrived, and they've won on that. And my takeaway on the home run flurry is that this is a good thing. I don't like when I hear people out there saying that the Dodgers are too home run reliant. I don't like that. And the reason why I say that is because what I've always said, right? If you want the dub, you've got to slug. And that's just modern baseball for you. If you're slugging, you're winning. And the Dodgers have 16 home runs, through 9 games. That leads all of Major League Baseball. And when people say, oh, I like big bunts and I can't not lie, give me some small ball, that's fine. If there was this perfect world where we could script it out, where there would be a combination of small ball and slug, fine. Yeah, you got to be able to move the runner over. You got to have some situational hitting at times, but it all boils down to, can you leave the yard? Because just because you hit a home run and you strike out the next couple at bats, or you hit a home run in the next couple of games, you're not slugging well, the law of averages is going to be in your favor if you have a talented roster that has guys with a history of slugging. Because guess what? If Freddie hits a home run, he's going to homer again. If Teoscar Hernandez hits a home run, he's going to homer again. Shohei Ohtani is going to homer again. The slugging is going to continue even if you have an off game. Here's the thing. For as much as the pitching staff did last year to carry this Dodgers team, which they certainly did, they would not have won the World Series if it weren't for the home run ball specifically. Okay? Just look at the NLDS, right? Teoscar Hernandez, big 3-run shot in game 1. Look at the NLCS. Shohei Ohtani, 3 homers in game 4 to clinch it. Look at the World Series. It was Freddie Freeman's walk-off home run in game 3. And then look at game 7. It was Will Smith's game-winning home run. Before that, it was Rojas's game-tying home run. And before that, it was Max Muncy's home run to bring him within 1. You've got to slug. There's no problem with that. Okay? Give me more home runs. I mean, is it a coincidence that the team that has started 7-2, that has the best record in the National League and the best record in the sport, and it's a team that is in a position to have the best chances to win it all, has hit the most home runs? No, I don't think there's a coincidence there. I think there's correlation there. So let's not freak out about that. All right. What's up, Aaron? Yeah, so Aaron's a big slug guy. Yeah, you wanna step in here and give you a couple seconds to talk about home runs? Yeah, so this is Aaron Coloma, an esteemed writer here at Dodgers Nation, that has a thought on home runs.
Yeah. Just the thing about the Dodgers is obviously they have that slug, right? And having slug is great. All this is great, but they can also like get walks and knocks, and they can drive guys in organically rather than just slugging the ball. And you need both to be successful. And I think the Dodgers are great at doing that. I mean, look at yesterday's game in the 8th inning, right? You know, you load the bases with 2 outs, good things are going to happen. People are going to get knocks. You don't have to just rely on the long ball. So I think that this whole Dodgers only hit the long ball argument it's not going to hold up. They're the best team in baseball because they can put together things like that. They can get runs via slug. They can, get a bloop and a bloop and a bloop and, make up the difference.
For sure. The dynamic offense, man, show him some love, Dodger for life there. For Aaron Coloma, absolutely. I mean, they don't expand the zone. They put together great at bats. I mean, a great offense is one that's going to do a lot of things at an elite level across the board. And certainly the slug is the calling card of this offense, and it's going to continue to be. But yeah, let's relax on the, hey guys, I want to single here. No, the extra base hits are what win. But next big takeaway here, player of the week. Great job, Aaron. Player of the week goes to Andy Pages. And the takeaway on Andy Pages is, 1, he's primed to be the Dodgers' next great homegrown star. 2, he's not only been the Dodgers' best hitter, he's been the league's best hitter. On Sunday, he had a double, he drew a walk, he scored a run, and that was his worst game of the week. He had 5 multi-hit games in a row. He had 3 consecutive 3-hit games, and he went 14 for 24. He also has the longest streak of multi-hit games since Shohei Ohtani did it in early April in 2024. And he has the longest streak of games with at least 3 hits since Pages did it last April. So Andy Pages is proving that his ceiling might be higher than most people had anticipated. That this is a homegrown talent that is clicking and benefiting from guys in front of him, right? I talked to Andy one of the first couple of days, and one thing he said was, hey, I like the fact that I bat where I bat because they're not going to pitch to me like they pitched to Shohei and Freddie. And I'm going to have more information by the time I get to the plate. So it's an advantage for him. The big dogs are eating, but he's still a big dog. And even though he's lower in the lineup, he's being able to capitalize off that. I think if Andy Paz is in the 3 or 4 hole, might not have the same numbers. I don't think he would have bad numbers. I think it still could put up all-star numbers. But I think early on this season, he's benefiting from the pitchers and the high stress that they go through having to get out Shohei and Tucker and Freddie and Will and all these guys at the top of their lineup. And I think when you look at big picture here for Andy Pages, I mean, he's got a 1294 OPS. That's behind Yordan Alvarez, Ben Rice, and Wilyer Abreu. And the hits keep coming. He's tied with Xavier Edwards of the Marlins for the most hits in Major League Baseball. So here's the thing about this team is you can't freak out the first week of the season, the first 2 weeks of the season, right? First couple of games, the top of the lineup wasn't hitting. Andy Pages was. Top of the lineup now has come alive, and Andy Paz is still hitting. He's going to go on a slump. The top of the lineup is going to catch fire. It's a long season, but I think my number one question now is, what is the floor of Pages? Like, what is he look like when he's at his worst? Because I think that's what you can really learn about how good of a player is. Is he just nuclear right now, and he's just kind of regressed to a somewhat above average hitter? Or is his worst like 20% above league average? Because if that's the case, then you're really talking about a guy who could get himself a $150 to $200 million extension. You are talking about a guy that if you continue the trajectory that he's on, where he is an above average 25 to 30 home run level bat, a plus base runner, a plus defender, one of the best outfield arms in the game, look, there's a world where he can have a longer, better career than Cody Bellinger. And I never thought I would say that about Andy Pages. And we know 2019 first half Belly was a magical run. I don't think Pages would reach those heights for that extended period of time, but he's just very talented. And you saw him yesterday and throughout this week just staying back on breaking balls, finding his pitches to hit in counts where he has count leverage. But even the 2-strike hitting has gotten better. I think for him, you want to look at the walks and try to get those up. So far this season, Andy Pages, with the 2 walks on the year, you want to increase those, but 7 strikeouts. So what can you say? Front Pages news, man. He's the player of the week. So, hey, he's a guy too. Just want to point out that all these Dodgers ruin baseball. Oh, the Dodgers buy other talent. Oh, what do you have to say about Andy Pages? And oh, how about Artie Moreno, who's arguably the worst owner in baseball? Let's all laugh. Let's all laugh at Artie Moreno. This is Artie Moreno when he sees Andy Pages' stats this year. Because Artie Moreno could have had Andy Pages because the deal was already set. You had Jock Peterson, you had Ross Stripling, you had Andy Pages. The Dodgers were set to get Hunter Renfroe, and Artie Moreno grew impatient because the Dodgers were dealing with the whole Mookie Betts deal. And what ended up happening? He stays with the Dodgers, and now he looks like he's someone that is going to be a big part of their future, and they don't have to pay him $30 million a year like they're doing a lot of their talented players. So, hey, I'm loving Andy Paz so far this season. I felt like he was going to be an all-star in my preseason preview, and I'm still holding true that you want to see a full season of this before you talk monster extension. But if he wants to give them a very team-favorable contract and a favorable pact to get the bag and stay here, hey, everything's fluid. That's all I will say. All right, next big takeaway. We're going to run through these, man. We got a jam-packed show. I still got my top 10 moments of the 2025 World Series. So, fourth big takeaway, the top of the rotation is stabilized. It really is. The 1 through 3 is elite. You do have more aces than a deck of cards when everyone's right. You've got Tyler Glass now, who pitched very well on Saturday. I think the curveball, the way that's playing, he's nasty. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani. All three of them have gone at least 6 innings in all 5 of their starts this season. It's the 4 through 6 that is still a work in progress. Emmett Sheehan, the velocity has been down, and Emmett Sheehan is still trying to find it. Roki Sasaki that we saw yesterday, he is continuing to try to improve and get better. Emmett Sheehan so far this season, an 8 ERA. He's given up 12 hits and 8 earned runs in 9 innings of work. Roki Sasaki so far, a 7 ERA. He's gone 9 innings. He's allowed 7 runs and 2 home runs. You're going to work Justin Robleski now into this rotation with them going to a 6-man. Blake Snell is going to be back at some point way later this month or in May, and at some point in May, and then we'll see, barring any setbacks, when we'll see Gavin Stone. Then River Ryan is still cooking down there. So they still have depth. They still have options for sure. But the top of the 3 in that looks very different than the 4 through 6. The 1 through 3 with Yoshi and Shohei and Glass now, they look absolutely elite. They look like they're best in the league as far as their 1 through 3. It's after that where I have my questions. Now, about Roki Sasaki, yesterday, he, like most Roki Sasaki starts, had his ups and downs. You definitely want to see him continue to make progress. And I think for him, you can definitely look at some positives. You can definitely look at some positives in his start yesterday. He goes 5 innings. He allowed 6 runs on 5 hits. The strikeout numbers, 3 walks. I mean, so there was, I guess, some progress there. And this is coming off a start where you get 1 run in 4 innings, but it wasn't great. And I know they want to be overly positive about his performance. And I think the number one thing that I think you feel good about for Roki Sasaki is that he has been able to use that slider. It's basically a cutter. And one thing that they've been talking about behind the scenes is if you almost kind of grip it like a cutter, you don't have to worry about the mechanics as much. So that means he's less in his mind. It's really like a gyro slider, and it gives him a nice velocity band to work with. But the issue with Roki Sasaki is he just doesn't have enough fastball command to be able to rely on that forkball enough. And until he gets the fastball command completely dialed in, it's going to be an issue. Yesterday, Roki, he ended up just not getting the swing and miss. I mean, 5 strikeouts. He got a 44% usage on that 4-seamer through 39 4-seams, through 29 slider, cutter, gyro slider. And then after that, he threw the splitter 22 times. So you see those 22 offerings of that splitter. That really is just because the 4-seam fastball does not get enough swings and misses, and either is that slider. So until he's able to generate the swing and miss, it's going to be tough for him to be able to have that pitch to play off it. I think you look at yesterday's game too. Yes, there was a tough play, an unlucky play where it looked like, oh, this is just more bad luck for Roki Sasaki. The fact that he's just in a tough situation where a ball goes over Freddie Freeman's head, and Freddie Freeman Freddie Freeman's a big dude. He's listed at 6'5", but he extends his glove there, and he's a lot taller than that. And of course, I'm talking about the play in where it's a 3-1 count, bottom of the 4th inning. You got Keibert Ruiz at the plate, and Ruiz just kind of flails his bat out there. It was a slider to the bottom of the zone, and it just clanks off the base, goes about 20 feet in the air, it feels like, goes over Freddie Freeman's head in the outfield, and Alex Freeland gets it. That scored Abrams to make it a 3-1 game. Yes, that's bad luck, but the issue is even when you had James Wood at the plate, runners on first and second, and the pitch to Wood, I mean, that was an absolute hanging splitter that big league hitters are going to crush, and that goes as a 3-run shot. So the issue is not the bad luck, it's that he just can't miss bats enough. The fastball is not electric enough. The slider is not sharp enough. And yes, it's a work in progress. And yes, he did get through 5 innings against a bad team. But against a good team, he's not going to be able to go 5 or 6 innings with that level of pitchability. So I'm concerned about Roki Sasaki. I genuinely am. I mean, they were trying to spin it after the game like it was this big positive. I still think it's a big negative because he's not missing bats enough, and he's looking very reliever-ish right now. That can change. When I say reliever-ish, it's I go to the bullpen, I simplify my mix, I go with what works, faster and more velocity. He's got to prove himself. And when everyone gets healthy, my big question is, what are they going to do with Roki Sasaki? If Blake Snell gets healthy, River Ryan performs, Gavin Stone gets healthy, it's going to make you wonder, hey, will meritocracy be an issue there? And does he deserve his spot in the rotation? But here was Dave Roberts on Roki Sasaki.
Well, it was a good fight. We didn't quit. We hung in there, and just the at-bats just kept grinding and played good defense. And, you know, it is a mark of our ball club that every out matters, every game matters, and it's important because every game does matter. You know, I think for me, Roki getting into the 5th inning was big, and obviously, you know, some people are going to look at the line score, but you know, if that ball doesn't hit the bag and the inning's over, and it could have been a different, you know, outing for him. So for me, I thought in totality it was still a fine outing, and left the 0-2 pitch up to Wood right there, which we'd love to have back. But I think in totality he did a nice job, and overall just a good team effort. I thought that the misses again were the right misses. I thought he and Rushing did a nice job of mixing. I thought the split was good. He used it enough and you know, to protect the fastball. So I thought up until that inning, I thought he was pretty efficient. And so, yeah, I thought, again, overall, not as bad as the line score. I saw potential growth. You know, I think you could argue his last inning was his best inning that he threw the baseball. So to respond from that, to get through that 5-inning mark, I thought was important.
We've seen with him the forkball's kind of been his signature pitch, and it seems like while there's some good ones, it's kind of erratic. Are you more concerned about the erraticness of that thing, or maybe the fact that he seems to be open more into using that slider and cutter thing?
You know, I think for me, I guess I'm looking at the trend and what's happening in with recency, and I think that I still see the trend line moving up, the arrow moving up, and so, yeah, I think every split you'd want to be a strike to ball, presented as a strike, but that's just not always the case. So I thought today, if we would have got the 0-2 split down to Wood, it would have been a different outing. And so I think for me, there's just continued improvement. And I do think that, I don't know the usage of that slider today, but I do think that he's using that more and getting a little bit more confidence with it.
So give Dave Roberts credit. He's sticking with this guy, and that's the right thing to do because they're developing someone at the big league level. Not a lot of pitchers would get this luxury. Roki, because of his potential, his ceiling, because of how they acquired him, really, he was basically a free agent where everyone wanted him, and they got him for $6.5 million in international bonus pool money. He's on a minor league contract, but clearly there was some assurances that he would get an opportunity at the big league level, and he's right. I mean, he misses a pitch there, and it really just blows up the whole start. But to his credit, he got through 5. He got through a 5 scoreless at the 5th inning, and for him, it's just about can he take his lumps and have a big breakthrough? Because right now, it's the Roki Sasaki roller coaster, the Roki coaster, where it's, wow, that splitter was nasty, 14 swings and misses, but then it's the missed pitches, it's the mistakes that he makes that the opposing team capitalizes on, and the bottom line is if he's going to put up Noah Syndergaard numbers, right? I mean, you can't have a guy out there for an extended period of time putting up Noah Syndergaard numbers. At some point, you're either going to hurt his confidence, you're just not developing at that level, and that's just the truth with Roki Sasaki. You can't put up a 7 ERA, even if there are some glimpses of the pitcher that he has the potential to be. At some point, you got to hold guys to the standard that all these guys are held to, which is their results at the end of the day. But, hey, we'll see his next start, man. I'm glued to the TV when he's pitching because you just never know what you're going to get with Roki Sasaki. We got Terry Hesticles. Hey, Dmac, can I get a Dodger for life? Dodger for life! Nightwing. Anyone had a problem with Rushing's comments on Roki? Rushing seemed harsh on Roki's forkball. I don't remember seeing Will Smith say that kind of stuff. I actually did not see that, so I'm going to have to go back and find out what you're talking about. Look, Rushing, his mindset with Roki is to just keep him in the zone from a fastball standpoint, and that's the hope. By the way, we got the lineup out. Let's go. We got the lineup out. Let's check this out. Can't wait. It's going to be electric in Rogers Center. Somehow they're going to boo Ohtani, by the way, which is so stupid. But let's see. The lineup for today for the Dodgers, where you got a rematch of the 2025 World Series, a World Series that we're going to talk about a little more. Jam-packed show, extended hours today. And that is that you got Shohei Ohtani, of course, batting leadoff at DH. Kyle Tucker in right batting second. Freddie Freeman is batting third at first base. Teoscar Hernandez batting cleanup in left. Max Muncy at third batting fifth. Andy Pages in center batting sixth. We've got Alex Freeland batting seventh at second. Dalton Rushing behind the dish batting eighth. And Hyeseong Kim starting at shortstop. Your shortstop, Hyeseong Kim. So, wow, a big, exciting moment for Hyeseong Kim, making his debut at the glamour position. So, hey, join us after the game, big-time post-game show, breaking all that down. But what are your guys' thoughts on that lineup? I know the HSK fans, including myself, are going to be stoked to see that. And I'm just hoping they makes the most of his opportunity. So, a couple more takeaways. We might stretch this out till tomorrow. My Sandy Koufax pitcher of the week, going to Shohei Ohtani. He pitched 6 scoreless innings. It was his first start of the year. He had 6 strikeouts. Now he has 22 scoreless innings dating back to last year. And he hit his first home run. It was a big bomb that tied the game on Friday, made it a 3-3 game, had a moonshot on Saturday. I mean, he had 967 OPS for the week. So Shohei Ohtani looks really good as a pitcher. I'm dropping a breakdown of his first start tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. A couple more before we get into our top 10 here. We got the transactions. I'm going to keep you guys updated on all the roster moves. On Wednesday, the Dodgers, they acquired Jake Eder from the Nationals for cash considerations. They optioned him to AAA. Jake Cousins was moved to the 60-day IL to make a roster spot for him. And then also Wednesday, the Dodgers acquired right-handed pitcher Grant Holman. They claimed him off waivers from the Dmacs, and they sent him to the minors. Gavin Stone was moved to the 60-day IL. And then Sunday, Mookie Betts placed on the 10-day IL with an oblique strain, and the Dodgers called up Hyeseong Kim. So those were the roster moves from last week. All right, before we get into our top 10, the last takeaway we'll drop today is the Dodgers blue jerseys were revealed and worn for the first time. I think that they looked really good. I think that I still prefer the Dodgers gray because it's iconic. But a couple of things I liked about the Dodgers blue alternates are, one, they're distinct from the spring training uniforms. They went with the Los Angeles script across the chest, something the Dodgers have worn throughout their time in Los Angeles from 59 to 69. You had Sandy Koufax in that era of Dodger baseball with the Los Angeles across the chest. And then in 1999, they brought it back. When they brought it back, it was with the twilled layers and piping down the front of the jersey, but it was back. And they still wore it last year and the year before that. I had people saying that they had ditched that. No, the Dodgers still wore it last year. Fun fact, they always wear it their first game on the road against the Angels, if you did not know. And my theory is that they're trying to like show the Angels like there's only one team in Los Angeles. But yeah, they always wear it their first game against the Angels on the road. So I liked them. I think the gray outlining on the red was well done. Definitely popped. I think they're going to sell well. Is it a cash grab? Maybe. Who cares? But here's the thing. My bigger picture here is this. The Dodgers listen to their fans. They really do. Like the Dodgers listen to their fans. Justin Turner came out and said, hey, I've been asking about blue jerseys for years. And what have fans been asking about for years? What have you said on the show for years? I want blue jerseys. And they gave you blue jerseys. Sure. Are they going to add the cash registers? Are they going to profit off them? Absolutely. But it's nice to have it. I like the fact that it's on the road. Road, I'll live with. Home is sacred to me. This white jersey behind us is the best in all of baseball. I think it's that. Yankees, the Cardinals, the Pirates, the Oakland A's, I think are a top 5 jersey in all Major League Baseball, especially that home run, very crispy, the wedding gown white. But I'm cool with that. And the Dodgers have worn blue in their history. 1944, they wore a satin blue Brooklyn Dodgers jersey at Ebbets Field. It had a shimmer and shine and a sheen to it because it was when the Dodgers were pioneers in having night games at Ebbets Field, and they wanted to have a jersey that would reflect and make it easier to see. Following year, 1945, they had a darker blue version of that. And then they didn't wear a blue jersey in a game until Think Blue Week in 1998. Now, if you remember Think Blue Week, they had the big Think Blue in the rolling hills behind Dodger Stadium at Chavez Ravine. And the original ones they wore in 1998 were basically the spring training jerseys that you see, but with the 40th anniversary of the Dodgers in Los Angeles patch on the sleeve. I remember Gary Sheffield, Bobby Bonilla. I remember that. But in 1999, that's when they wore the blue jerseys for Think Blue Week. They're a little more memorable. You had the silver bills on the Dodgers hat. The LA was silver. It was at this time of jersey aesthetics where it was a little more gaudy and detailed. You had a layered Dodgers word mark across the front. You had the red numbers in the front. And then they didn't wear blue until they had the throwback of the Brooklyn ones in like 2011 with Ethier, Kirsch, and Kemp. And then the City Connects in 2021, the Los Dodgers. So they have worn blue in their history, but this is the first time we've seen them in Los Angeles have a permanent blue jersey in their rotation. BDR, what'd you think of the blue unis? Scale of 1 to 10 fire emojis. What would you give it?
Yeah, it's really 10 out of 10. That's hard. And I thought it really plays into their exactly, and it plays into their evil role that they're kind of like leaning into now. You know what I'm saying?
I like that. I didn't think about it that way, but I see it. How about you, Ava? I know you were feeling the jerseys. I saw you were feeling it. Which one would you cop? Like if you could only have one.
I was just gonna say I don't really like buy jerseys, but the blue one is the closest I've ever felt to wanting to buy one.
It's like a blue Ohtani or...
I'll take any, honestly.
Any of them, yeah. Yeah, no, there was something about... The thing about Dodger blue, I don't think you realize until you see it in a jersey, it's not like the lightest blue. Like it is, there's like a dark...
It's like a,
like a true blue.
But it's it's a good solid shade. I like the stitching.
The stitching was fire. You got the gray piping on the sleeve, the Dodgers on the sleeve. How about you? I've been told that Noel's here too. Noel is he's here somewhere.
Somewhere, man. Somewhere.
There we go.
I know. I got. Give me your thoughts on it. There he is. First of all, Noel, he did a little recon mission before the jersey dropped. He went to I think a Dodger. Which Dodgers clubhouse did you hit up?
Dodgers clubhouse, Montebello, my hometown.
I've heard from people that's the best Dodgers clubhouse as far as their like how much inventory they have.
Great selection, great staff over there.
So give me your thoughts, man. Were you feeling it?
Yeah, I was. I mean, ever since we saw that first preview on the Fanatics Korea site to then when they were stocked in that Montebello store, I went in there, actually got to see them in person. And now seeing the guys wear it, I love that picture that they had of Ohtani, Mookie, Tucker, and Freddie all wearing them. And then just the way they exploded in that game, we had such a good first impression of them. So I'm with Rob, 10 out of 10 for me, man.
Hey, I think it's tough to roll out a new jersey and make it look tasteful.
Yeah.
And they somehow managed to like make something look classic right out of the gate. So yeah, look, I mean, it was a banger. Like, I mean, you compare that to the City Connects, the Funfetti, where we're just like, what are we even talking about here? Like, it looks good. So credit to them. I mean, Noel and I were on it like all off season. We felt pretty confident that this was going to be worn. There were those leaks of the jersey being an MLB The Show and things like that. Whose jersey you're copping though? For Noel, who, like, if you got to go with one player, which Dodger blue jersey?
I got to go Mookie, honestly. I think
Mookie 50 would look sick. The 5-0 looks sick. How about you, BDR?
Same Mookie.
Mookie? Yeah. There we go.
What about you, Dmac?
Man, it's a good one. Honestly, I kind of like number 7. So I think I went with Snellzilla.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like Snellzilla is kind of, you know, wear that with my Chrome Hearts hat that I'm never gonna get. You know what I mean? Try to be like a Blake Snell. You know, like it's one of the younger guys. You know, dude, you know what would slap, would feed families would be a Hyeseong Kim blue, because I like stuff that's a little like.
Yeah.
I mean, Ohtani's on the nose. That's the one we're all gonna get, right? If we have our first choice, we're being honest. But some that kind of make people look like, hey, what is like wow. You know what I mean? Like I think Kim would go crazy. I honestly I was thinking about coming out of jersey retirement, getting a Yamamoto for the gold editions, the gold program, just because he gets the World Series MVP. I think 18 looks clean. The one that has the Japanese characters on the back goes for like double the market value or something like that. So that's a banger too. But yeah, let us know down below in the comment section, which player would you go with if you could have one of the new Dodgers jerseys? By the way, so do you think so the authentic, which is like $420 plus tax, I don't think that one's even available yet.
No, that's not even available. It's only the replica. And it was only the Ohtani one that was listed online.
So they're gonna cash on that bad boy. For sure. Oh, you know what would go pretty hard would be a Pages jersey.
Yeah.
Because like he's been their best player early. They debut those with him. He probably should have jumped in that fearsome foursome picture and said, hey man, like let me get in on this. But yeah, I mean, but good stuff, guys. But all right, guys, this is gonna be an epic show. And because this is not your typical day here, this is a rematch of the World Series, one that we'll talk about for the rest of eternity. So we got a double high five today. We got our top 10 most important plays from the 2025 World Series. I think my list might be a little controversial because I think that there's some plays that are a little higher or lower. I'll get your take on that. But that's coming next here on the High Five.
The High Five, Dmac's Top 5.
Okay, so the first play we'll get into, and there's just so many to pick. I mean, the fact that it's tough to pick your 10 most memorable plays from one series. I mean, you could do a high five for just one game alone in all-time plays. That's how many epic plays there were in this World Series. But I think the first one, I'll admit, there's some sentimental value in this one because it ended up being his final pitch of his big league career. And of course, I'm talking about Clayton Edward Kershaw, someone that just was doing anything he could to help this team, whether it be mop-up duty against the Phillies, whether it be just being in there any way he could to help this team. And he was thrusted into a situation, high leverage, with the season on the line, potentially based on how the following couple of games went. He enters the game in the 12th inning in a 5-5 game. Bases loaded against Lucas. And it's a 3-2 count, and he gets him to ground out. There was no margin for error, and Clayton Kershaw, in his final pitch of his Dodgers career, of his big league career, was a critical pitch to help them win a World Series game, and he ends up going out on top.
Bouncing ball to second. Edman hurries. Open at first in time. Tommy Edman. Another play on defense.
That's what I'm going with there. And I look at Clayton Kershaw's career and I say to myself, hey, this is someone that has had his trials and tribulations. He's had his ups and downs. We talked about Roki today. Hey, Kersh early on, he was looking for a third pitch. He was trying to find a way to stay at the big league level with all this hype, right? So it's happened before. But for him to contribute the way that he did, I think that he smiles even more when he looks at that World Series ring. Let's be honest. If Clayton Kershaw came into that game and Lucas hits a bases clearing triple or hits a grand slam and the Dodgers lose that series and that's your last memory of Clayton Kershaw, the Kershans out there are going to be horrified. But even on the flip side, if Kersh entered that game, lost it for him, and the Dodgers still won that series, it might hit a little different knowing that they almost won in spite of him or overcame his issue, right? But I think I just love the fact that I can go to sleep at night with my Clayton Kershaw jersey clinched in my hands and thinking to myself, King Kersh came through at that age and found a way to get it done. He got it done for this team, and you love it. You love to see it, and it was some awesome stuff. All right, that was number 10. This is a very thought out list here, and to think that this is number 9 is kind of wild. But I'm going with Will Klein in Game 3, given the Dodgers everything he had, 4 scoreless innings, didn't give up a run. He threw 72 pitches. The 72 pitches that he threw in his 4 scoreless innings in the 18-inning game, those were only 7 fewer than Blue Jay starter Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer, great pitcher, future Hall of Famer, but it was Will Klein's night at Dodger Stadium. And the way he came through, here it is.
First outs he's gotten in a month. Schneider's down on a high. He takes Game 3 of the World Series. 2 scoreless innings. 72nd pitch for a guy who had never thrown more than 30. Unbelievable stuff from Will Klein.
So that's Will Klein. That was his moment. And I like the fact that he's building off that moment. And I talked to him after that game, and he just was in awe. He couldn't believe it. He truly could not believe it. And it's one of those ones where he'll never have to buy a drink in Los Angeles for the rest of his days, and for good reason. I got Will Klein coming in at number 9. Now, coming in at number 8, it's kind of wild to think this is number 8, and it kind of doesn't get talked about enough, is Shohei Ohtani's performance in that same epic Game 3. Because, yes, we know there was a 3-homer, 10-strikeout game in Game 4, the clinchy game in the NLCS against the Brewers. But as far as overall offensive production, what Shohei did in that game, reaching base 9 times, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 5 walks, 4 intentional, all-time great stuff from the Big Show.
Been loving it. Comes back in. It's lifted to deep right field. Towards the corner. Goodbye. Important thing. Ohtani on a center cut fastball. He's been up 4 times in extra innings, or 4 times back to the 9th inning for some guys. He doesn't. It's a 4-pitch walk to Ohtani, a 5th consecutive walk for him.
I mean, just incredible stuff. I mean, you dive deeper in that, and the moment was never too big for Shohei. But coming off the performance he had in the NLCS, to put together a game like that was insane. I mean, to not commit a single out 18 innings is wild. He became the first player ever to be walked intentionally 4 times. John Schneider just threw that form every single time. And with those 4 intentional walks, Ohtani reached base at a point where it wasn't the situation, it was how they were doing it. I mean, the record for an intentional walk in a postseason series was Barry Bonds. He was intentionally walked 13 times during the Giants' run in 2002 where they lost the Angels in Game 7. But he got 4 straight, and he got really 5 straight because he didn't get a strike in that 5th at-bat, or that late at-bat there where he was walked for the 5th time. He didn't see a single strike. So it's one thing to walk with the guy with a runner at second and 1 out, something like that. He was being walked with the bases empty, and Toronto did that 3 times. 3 times they were saying, hey, in a close game, in a tie game, we're willing to walk you intentionally. And then also, too, when he faced Mason Flaherty, and then he was also going up against Sir Anthony Dominguez, he doubled and he homered twice, and that is what ended up tying the score. So that game doesn't get into extra innings if it weren't for Ohtani's offensive heroics. I mean, how about one more thing? Through 9 innings, the Dodgers had 4 extra base hits. All of them were Shohei Ohtani's. That's one for the ages. I think that it's ranked Game 3 or Game 4 of the NLCS is the Ohtani game, but honorable mentions are the 50-50 game in that game right there, offensively. Just incredible stuff. All right, moving on this list. You're like, where's the controversy at? Okay, coming in at number 7, that same game, Freddie Freeman, he ends it in the 18th and becomes the only player in big league history to have walk-off home runs twice in multiple World Series. Freddie Freeman does it again.
Los Angeles. Freeman sends a fly ball to center field. Varsho's going back before the catch strikes midnight. Freddie Freeman has ended it. It's a repeat hero with the last word on a Game 3 classic. It takes 6 hours and...
So Freddie Freeman, that walk-off there, just unbelievable stuff. I mean, the game was 6 hours and 39 minutes, and it wasn't just the home run that he hit and getting the Dodgers the win. It was the fact that it prevented the Dodgers from having to use Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I still get goosebumps thinking of Yoshi sending himself to the bullpen saying, I'm going to pitch in this game, because as great and as courageous as Yoshi is, a straight-up killer with that, hey, losing is not an option mentality, had he pitched in that game, it would have been tough to see him pitch in games 6 and 7, especially at the level that he did it. So Freddie's home run not only won the game, but also I think won them games 6 and 7 because you didn't have to use Yoshi in that one. We'll never know, but still put them in the best place to do it. Now, this is where it gets a little controversial. For me at number 6, I've got Will Smith's go-ahead home run in the 11th inning in Game 7 of the World Series.
Smith, it's a high fly ball to deep left field. It's got a chance. It is gone. It's Will Smith in Game 7. And in the 11th inning of Game 7, the Dodgers lead for the first time.
What a I just got done saying that somebody's going to be remembered. It could be Will Smith.
So there was Will Smith there, and that home run was monster. I mean, it was off Shane Bieber. By the way, homering off Bieber in Canada, you got to love it. 10 postseason home runs for Will Smith. That home run increased the Dodgers' win probability up 41%. So it was monster, but here's the thing. The plays in front of it are what led to him having an opportunity to hit that. And we'll never know if someone else was going to put the Dodgers on top. Was it going to be via a home run? Was it going to be via single, double, triple, walk? We don't know. But we know that he would not be in that position if it weren't for these plays that we're going to get into, because now we are in the top 5. So the fifth play, the fifth most important play, the fifth most memorable moment of the 2025 World Series was the ultra rare double play to end Game 6.
The Dodgers lead by 1. Broken back, ground ball. Betts has it, steps on the bag. The throw to...
We'll get to, so actually, let's go to, let's see here. Actually, we'll go back to that one. We'll do, that's actually the double play to end the World Series. Do we got the one where it's the double play to end Game 6? Let's see here. Number 3. Okay, cool. We'll get to that one. That one, though, that double play, of course, is to win the World Series. That was extremely rare. The fact that Mookie Betts gets a 6-3 double play to end the World Series, I think easily you put that at 5. Yes, it wasn't the Rojas play, but still, for Mookie Betts to be the first player to have a game-ending double play to seal Game 7 since 1947. That was the last time he had a double play end the World Series. It's only happened 3 times to end the World Series in double play fashion. And you also had a run on third that could have tied the game. So, yeah, let's go with Mookie Betts 6-3 double play to end the World Series and give the Dodgers back-to-back titles, cements the dynasty, and their 9th World Series in franchise history.
The Dodgers lead by 1. Broken back, ground ball. Betts has it, steps on the bag. The throw to first. Double play from backs against the wall to back-to-back. The Dodgers cement their dynasty. They win Game 7 in extra innings. 5-4.
First of all, it's a great call there by Steven Nelson. Great call. From back to the wall to back-to-back World Series, cementing a dynasty. And just to get that soft contact, to get Alejandro Kirk to roll into that. A great play by Mookie. It shows that he grew at that position. And look, that's the dog pile play, right? That's the one you love. But now we're getting into the top 4. So 4, we're going Rojas to Smith to prevent IKF, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, from winning the World Series after Rojas had just tied the World Series with a home run in the 9th inning. He falls off balance and is still able to throw a strike at home, and Will Smith is able to keep his foot on the bag. The Blue Jays were so close to winning the World Series. They were so close to doing it, but thanks to Rojas and Smith, the Dodgers found a way, and they extended that game.
Varsho, roller to second. Rojas comes home in time, and it's Miguel Rojas who ties it in the top of the 9th, saves it in the bottom of the 9th. 2 out. Miguel Rojas, who was completely out of the picture 48 hours ago.
So do you realize that if Rojas doesn't make that play, like we might rarely talk about that Rojas home run that he hit in the 9th, that we probably never talk about Yoshi's heroics and coming out and going in back-to-back days and no days rest in the World Series. I mean, that's what made the series so spectacular, is it was a series that was decided with moments where it was about millimeters and inches, and he's a couple feet away from taking that. Now, we did a full breakdown about him taking a lead and sliding, and Varsho was unlikely to hit it to third there, but still, give Miguel Rojas credit. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, inches away from winning the World Series, but instead the Dodgers are able to extend the game. All right, in our top three, I think that this one is a play that gets lost just because it happened in Game 6. But let's not forget, in Game 6, the Dodgers were close to going down. But it was about a play where Kike Hernandez has elite baseball IQ. And when have you ever seen a 7-3 double play to end a game and extend a series? Well, that series was about seeing things we've never seen before, and that was another example. Coming in at number 3, the 7-3 double play, Kike to Rojas to end the game.
Jimenez floats one, left field. Hernandez makes the catch. Back to second. Game 7 tomorrow night. It's a game-ending double play. Kike Hernandez to Miguel Rojas.
Well, this ball hangs up enough, and you can see right away that Kike was going right to second.
Just unbelievable. I mean, for Rojas to have his foot on the bag, let the ball go past him, and he catches it on his left hip. And for Kike to use his eyes to get Barger off the bag like that, I mean, it was all-time stuff. It really, truly was. And Rojas told us on this show that Kike hugged him so hard after getting those final 2 outs that he had to get treatment just to be able to play in Game 7. That is how intense that moment was. So, of course, it's always Kike Hernandez somehow finding himself in a situation that flips the series. Whether it be 2024, big part of the Game 5 5-run comeback, and just absolute baseball IQ, 1,000, off-the-chart savviness, to charge in the way he was. He kind of went against the positioning a little bit to make that throw on the run, throw one hopper, and Rojas to have those soft hands to make that play. That ends the inning. That ends the game, and that sends it to Game 7. And that's what brings us to the top 2 plays, the top 2 most important and memorable plays from the 2025 World Series. Coming in at number 2, Andy Pages makes the greatest catch when you look at moment plus catch plus it looked like the series was over. He runs over Kike Hernandez, and as Kike Hernandez says, he turned him into an NBA player because he posterized him. He makes the catch, and he sends the game into extra innings. Andy Pages with the greatest catch in Dodgers postseason history.
Here's the winning run. Fly ball to left field. Hernandez on the run with Pages over his head. Pages runs him over, makes the catch, sends Game 7 to the 10th. Incredible.
Pages reaches up and makes the catch.
as he crashes into Kike.
Just an unbelievable catch. I mean, where do you start to unpack on that catch? I think the first thing you look at was not just Andy Pages, but Dave Roberts, Dodgers manager. He had the presence of mind to remove Tommy Edman, who had been dealing with an ankle injury, who had some mobility limitations all season long, to put in Andy Pages, who had been struggling all postseason long, who was benched in that series, to say, we want a more athletic defensive center fielder out there. And Andy Pages, he makes the catch of his lifetime. He ran 121 feet to get there to run over Kike Hernandez to keep the season alive. He had a 60% catch probability, which isn't miracle status, but I think when you consider the circumstances and the state of the game, the way that ball sounded off the bat, it felt like the game was over. We'll never know if Kike was going to catch that. We'll never know if Tommy Edman was going to catch that. What we do know is that he did catch that and it extended the game. And what I think is so mind-blowing about that is the Dodgers have a history of these magical catches in big games. In 1955, when the Dodgers had still yet to win a World Series, or they had lost to the Yankees all 5 times they had faced them in the Fall Classic, it was another Cuban-born outfielder named Sandy Amorós who made an incredible play in left field. And coincidentally, Sandy Amorós was also a defensive substitution. He came in for Junior Gilliam. And Gilliam was a right-handed player who caught the ball with his right hand, and Sandy Amorós was left-handed. And what happened was, long story short, Don Zimmer, he was in the game and you had all of these Yankee greats, and they're trying to continue to build that dynasty, Yogi Berra, and he sliced one off the bat in a pitch towards left field, towards the foul line. Amorós, who was playing towards left center field, he was shaded towards there. He ran about as far as anyone had ever seen an outfielder run at the time, and he made a play. And he caught it near the foul pole, and he fired the ball to Pee Wee Reese, who relayed the ball to Gil Hodges to get McDougald at first base to double up the Yankees to really end that threat there. So, I mean, the fact that it's another play similar to that, Sandy Amorós is someone that they say if he was right-handed, wouldn't be able to stretch and make that catch. And he makes the play, and they win that series, and they win that game. And then Andy Paz with that big catch there to make that play. So, yeah, something magical about baseball moments for sure. And I think that's one that will go down as history as one of the greatest plays in Dodgers history. But coming at number 1 is Miguel Rojas. And the lead up to this, I think, is what makes it so spectacular. If I told you before that series, hey, who's your guess as to which Dodger is going to hit the most important home run of this series? How many players would you name before you named Miguel Rojas? A player that wasn't even playing in that series. A player that I saw in the dugout after the Dodgers lost Game 5 that was staring at the Dodger Stadium field deep in the night thinking that was going to be his last time ever playing in that stadium and possibly in that series. But his wife, she encouraged him saying, you're going to have a home run. You're going to have a big moment. And the wild thing is he hadn't hit a home run in a month. And there was nothing that pointed to him having that moment because he's not a home run hitter. He's not. He's only reached double-digit home runs in his season once in his 12-year career. He's not a guy that you would have picked to be at the plate against Jeff Hoffman with the season on the line. The Dodgers down a run 3-2 in the top of the 9th inning. The Blue Jays 1 strike away from winning the World Series, and Miguel Rojas gets a slider up in the zone. He can't walk him because Shohei's on deck, and Miguel Rojas has the moment of his life in what was the most memorable moment of the most memorable World Series that we've ever seen.
Drilled to left field and deep and gone! No way! Miguel Rojas! Dave Roberts played his gut. The guy hadn't had a hit in a month. And in the 9th inning of Game 7, he's hit a tying home run.
So So the Dodgers had an 8.7% win probability in Game 7 of the World Series when Rojas stepped into that batter's box. And then after he hit it, it was 44.2%. Including his postseason plate appearances, Rojas had a 2.1% chance of hitting a home run. He had a 0.5% chance of hitting a home run off a right-handed pitcher. He had hit one homer off a righty in 192 plate appearances leading up to that bat, and that righty wasn't even a pitcher. It was a position player. And he ends up 36 years old, hadn't hit a home run since September 19th, hadn't hit a home run in the 9th inning or later of a game since 2019 when he was a Marlin, and he ends up having his first and only career postseason home run as a Dodger. I mean, unbelievable stuff. Incredible stuff. He hit the 12th home run in World Series history that had tied the score in the 9th inning. The first was by Frank Baker in the 1911 World Series, but Rojas hit the only one that was in the 9th inning or later of a Game 7. Truly an all-time home run. I said seconds after this game that this was the most important home run in Dodgers history because it was the swing that saved a dynasty. It was a swing that gave the Dodgers something that this illustrious and historic franchise had never experienced, and that is win back-to-back championships, win back-to-back World Series titles, and he hits that bomb. I think it's just an incredible moment, man. And that's one of those things where I think he ends up possibly being the Dodgers manager one day, long after Dave Roberts is gone. I think this moment is a big reason why. I mean, just incredible stuff for Miggy Rowe. Could not be more happy. But those are my top 10 moments. I think the only honorable mention that I didn't throw in there that I considered over the Kersh one was the Justin Dean ball over the wall, hands up in Game 6. That was certainly one there. But how do you guys feel about my top 10? My double high five. Let's get some comments here. Long show, guys. Here we go, though.
The 7th inning stretch.
Krista Helicopter says, love that clip when homie caught the ball and then realized, oh, ish, wrong team. Yeah, hey, man, you catch that ball, man. Miguel Rojas, I like this from Kinji Fries. Miguel Rojas is officially our Blue Angel. Okay. Four-seater, the screen-framed playback in Dmac's background is fire. Yeah, shout out to BDR cooking that thing the whole show, man. That looks awesome, man. MTV Gen X Watch, the Dodgers are the greatest team in history because of the degree of impact our team has had on the sport of baseball for the better part of multiple ages. Yeah, absolutely. 22, can I get a Kersh? Yeah, I got you. Dodger for life. There you go. All right, guys. We are running out of time. So let's get to the walk-off.
The walk-off.
All right, today for the walk-off, we'll talk some Shohei Ohtani, who was throwing in the rain during the rain delay, getting his work in, and there was one fan that stayed to watch him, and that fan was rewarded. There was this huge deluge. It was a downpour, and this fan, look at him right here, rocking the Tulsa Drillers jersey, and he stayed, and Shohei Ohtani, check out this video. There you go. Shohei Ohtani comes over, gives him the ball. His name is Kane Cochran from Virginia. He's got the Drillers jersey. There's the parents. Someone gave me their contact. We're going to have this little kid on the show for a quick second, talk about that moment. And this is from MLB. It says his father, Joe, and Kane wore hooded sweatshirts pulled tight over their heads while his mother, Lindsay, stood exposed to the rain, clearly uncomfortable but unwilling to leave in weather that would make anyone want to turn back. Older brother Avery and sister Presley had taken shelter under a covered area after getting soaked through a sensible area. Despite the miserable weather, the parents stayed for one reason: to fulfill their son's wishes, to see the players up close and hopefully get an autograph. Once he finished with his workout, Ohtani jogged over to the family. Instead of heading straight back into the dugout, Kane, who had been watching Ohtani's workout the entire time, posed for a photo, and Ohtani landed him the ball he had been using. So he just handed him over that ball that he was using for the bullpen session. This is a game-used practice used Ohtani thrown baseball, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, really cool stuff for Shohei Ohtani to notice that and reward this fan. And now he's got a picture that he's going to have for the rest of his life. And no word off if Shohei Ohtani even autographed that ball, but still, I think the picture is the most important thing. So really awesome stuff. And this kind of goes to show, I mean, this is kind of who Shohei Ohtani is. You see multiple moments of this guy just being a great human, especially with kids. We've already got dad strength Ohtani, but awesome stuff. And I just got to, when I talk to this kid, I got to find out about the Tulsa Drillers jersey because that's great stuff. So cool moment, wholesome moment, feel good moment. Shohei Ohtani giving back and rewarding this fan for, how about this? You're staying in the pouring rain to watch Shohei Ohtani, man. Big shout out to this kid because you know he just loves baseball. But all right, that's going to do it for this episode.
We do have a super chat that came in at the end, Dmac.
Let's bang out this super chat then. Let's go. We've got Nightwing 184, honorable mentions, Roki Sasaki's face when he found out Yoshi was going to the bullpen in the 18-inning game. Robo hitting Jimenez. Hoffman yells at us, karma. Yeah, that is hilarious. But Roki Sasaki, it's like, what? Is he serious? Is he for real? I think is what he said when Yama is just walking by him, just like an absolute baller, like a boss. Gives me chills just thinking about it. And yeah, Robo and the Jimenez thing kind of lit a fire. Max Muncy, I think it was Will Klein, I believe, said it kind of made their juices flow a little more. So, hey, yeah, Andreas Jimenez definitely got punked there. So really cool stuff. But all right, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. Join us right after the game for the post-game show. We're going live after tonight's game. You got Dodgers, Blue Jays rematch of the 2025 World Series. This is exciting, guys. This is going to have, I don't want to say a playoff feel, but as hype as you can get an early season, regular season game. Lefty Justin Robleski on the mound facing old friend, old enemy, whatever you want to call him, Mr. Deadheart himself, Max Scherzer, tonight, a 4:07 first pitch Pacific time. We'll see you guys next time. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Dmac_LA. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, drop a like, drop a comment down below. Join us after the game. And remember that nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.